So we'll go up here, and there, we lit it. Now we have a lit candle, or a lit torch. Can't highlight anymore. Hey there, today we're going to add something to our game that actually we can do something with. Right now all we've ever really been doing is just interacting with the environment, walking around, seeing different things that can happen. So we're actually going to add something to our little game that we can interact with and show that the character interacts. So I've created a couple sprites, and we're going to do something with. First one is basically before I created a field of vision sprite. I've created an interact sprite. We're going to create an interact object, and we're just going to assign that, because that'll give us our boundary as far as where it looks. We'll make it invisible. And then one of the things we're going to do is every time something happens, we're going to just hit a flag that says, oh, okay, it's interacting. So in our step event, we're going to create and we're going to say action equals, and we're going to test it. Key, check, pressed. Let's make sure that's spelled right. Yeah, there we go. Keyboard check. We're going to set the space bar. So this is going to trigger something that's interactive every time we're not worried about too much at the moment. We'll refine it later sometime. But so that we'll say an action occurs when we press the space bar. We're also going to, in our create event, go ahead and define, say the action is false. So we're not actually doing something until it occurs. Don't really care about anything else. We're going to go into our character, and we are going to, like we had before, field of vision, we're going to have our interact. And we're going to have this follow us around everywhere we go. Like we do the others. So now the other thing we want to put in our world is something we can interact with. So we're going to add an existing object. We're going to create an object, and this is going to be our torch. We're going to assign it a non-lit torch that we created. And we're going to have this as... Are we going to do anything with this? Oh, not yet. So we'll just put it in our world for right now. So right now nothing happens. We'll walk around. I guess for right now we'll leave this on so you can see what we're interacting with. So we'll probably need to, we need to switch where that is located. But nothing happens what we're looking at. We're going to go back up here. I don't think we'll set it to center. And since our character, we'll lower it a little bit more. Actually, alright, so our character is 16 high. And this is 16 high, so we'll make this 16. That way, I think our character's location is actually at its feet. So we're going to set it center, bottom. This way, it'll highlight whatever we're looking at. I mean, it'll require us always to be right next to it, or it won't, we can't interact something that's above, but so right now there's nothing there. We are going to also add a shadow, because we need the shadow. Okay, so one of the things we're going to do is we also need to create some way to identify that we can interact with an object. And so we're actually going to create a shader today. So let's create a very basic shader. And all the shader is going to do is take an image on the screen, and you're going to be able to change the color to something you pass it. So we're going to create a shader. We're going to call it SH Highlight. Color change. We'll do that. Color change. In this screen, we're not going to do anything. There's a vertex screen and there's a fragment screen. Vertex is just pass through the shader, get through everything. The fragment is if you're going to process something in it. So what we're going to do is we want to change color. So we're going to introduce a parameter to our shader. I'm going to call it new color. We'll keep the same spelling. So we're going to create something to get the original color, and we'll say we call it texture 2D. So this is what we're doing. We're getting the texture of the original, and then we're going to change it. So we're going to say if the colors alpha, which is represented as A, is greater than 0, so if there's any color at all, we are going to change the color to the new color, and we'll just keep. Alright, the other thing we're going to do before we do that, see if it'll let us do it this way. I can't remember. We're going to keep the alpha the way it is too. That way, if something's somewhat transparent, we're just changing the base color. Yeah, that's what we want. We're changing the color, and we are going to pass back the color because we just got that. Very simple. So this is test for color. We're going to save the transparency, or the alpha, and apply a new color. See if we can get that. I believe that's what we want to do. So now we're going to create a highlight object. I guess it's okay. So what we're going to do this is for a highlight. I'm sure there's different ways you can do this and more efficient ways. So one interesting thing about coding is you can always do them 500,000 ways to get the same thing. So we're going to say highlight is false. And we're going to create a shader parameter for this object. And this is the same name as we created over here in our shader for our parameter over here. So it'll match this. Then we're going to create begin steps, and this is going to be our collision detection. Say if our object that we have hits the interact object, which is our character close. I'm going to say highlight's true, otherwise our highlight is false. Okay, now we're going to say give our torch a highlight property. And in our draw events, we're going to, because this one also has since we have a parent that says it's highlight, we can now say if it's highlight, we can do something. What we'll do is apply the filter, or the shader here. If I can type. Oh, is that what we call it? Yeah, I think it is. Highlight. So this is the property from our highlight. So when we created it, we created a shader that we can pass parameters. We're gonna pass it yellow. And these are float values of the 255 colors. So, and how we determine that is in one of our sprites. We look at the color, go in here. So 255, that would be 1. I think we used, which one do we use? Oh, we use this one for this is our highlight color. 255 is 1 because you're the number divided by 255. So 1, 1, and this is basically a 1/2. Close enough. So that's what the value we're going to use. So 1, 1, and 1/2. So what we're doing here is we are setting our shader, passing it a parameter, and then we're going to draw a sprite. So whatever we draw during the shader, it'll process. And what we're going to do is color it yellow and then shift it in 3 of the directions, so that way it'll highlight 1 pixel in each direction. You could do 4 if you need the whole thing highlighted. But since it's on the ground, we're only going to, in our game, or what we're working on, we're only going to do 3 directions because we don't need the fourth one. So this is right, left, and up. Alright, we're going to try it this way. I'm sure I've missed something. Alright, there we go. There's something. Can't modify a uniform. So our shader, line 15. Oh. I guess we'll store, since we can't modify, we'll just save color, and we'll use this. We'll save the color, and then reapply the alpha. So right, save the alpha, apply the new color, reset the alpha. Try that. Yeah, there we go. See, now that we're getting close, it highlights. Doesn't mean we can do anything with it. So with our zoom that we still have, it highlights. So now that we know it highlights, let's take off this interaction. Make it so we can see without that. So now let's actually have it do something. So the torch before, all we're doing is drawing it. If it's highlighted based on the parent, so now we'll just do something simple. Okay, so we're going to create a variable to say whether it's lit or not. So it's not lit. And we're going to change that if we're close enough, if our other object, which is this is the interact object, the highlighter. If there's an action to be done, then we're going to tell it to be lit. And then for our step, we're going to say if it's not lit and our sprite index is the original torch, then let's change our sprite. Oh, if it is lit. Oh, so let's go back real quick here. Alright, so we're up here. Oh, I missed. Okay. Did I miss something? Did I change? Oh. Oh, here we go. Because I created added a create step. Since its parent has a create, I have to call the parent to get the same value. Alright, so we'll do that real quick again. Okay, so we're gonna, yep, it's writing we did not properly set. We're going to change the image speed. And then what else? So the other thing I guess we want to do for right now is say if there's a highlight and it's not lit, we'll highlight it. So we'll go up here and there we lit it. Now we have a lit candle or a lit torch. Can't highlight it anymore. There you go. Some interactivity. Alright, until next time, good luck coding. Hello there, and the last time we left off, we were just finished up